What is going on, y'all? We are going to take a little field trip today to Redcliff Manor Historic Site State Park in Beach Island, South Carolina. I have on a nice little equestrian shirt. I've got on sensible shoes for walking, and brought my water. I think it's free to get in and $10 to tour the house. So let's go.
Take the next right onto Redcliff Road.
It would have just been a flat wall with the fireplace. And finally, employed is a cook and a maid, so essentially help. 2 pairs of cotton pants. This right here is actually what they receive in the fall. 6% of the population here in South Carolina was African American. In Congress and the Senate, for example, we would have one. One I mentioned back at the start. So for the house itself, we have what's known as a Greek Revival type mansion. That's indicated by the Doric columns on the porch, as well as the little Parthenon-like structures above the windows. That's that sort of triangle shape. The whole purpose.
We live in Aiken.
To maintain humidity control. But if you need out at any time, feel free to ask. So, welcome to the house. Before we get natural elements, so we have these doors. They're made out of sycamore wood harvested from Redcliff's grounds. These doors would have been crafted by one. His name is Pompey. He specifically made the shingles that went on the house. We don't know if he had a hand in making the doors or what else he helped make, and sadly the name of the other carpenter that he enslaved no longer lasts.
So this is the original?
Yes, this is the original door. Wow. The full family to live here, so the Billings family. So how it goes, at least house genealogy, James Henry Hammond, his son Harry Hammond owns this until 1916. Then it's owned by his daughter, Harry's daughter, Julia Hammond. Julia owns it until 1935, when she will sell it to this fellow right here. This is her nephew. This is John Shaw Billings and his wife, Frederica Wade Billings. John Shaw was born here back in 1898 in this very house, and he'll buy the house in 1935. Now, you might be wondering, where the heck does he get all the money to buy this house? After all, it's the middle of the Great Depression. Most people are kind of hard on for money. Well, John Shaw Billings is the editor of Time, Life, and Fortune magazine, as evidenced by our quite extensive collection of Time and Life magazines. On 5th Avenue, we actually had a guy come in through here who lived on 5th Avenue for a while. We told him where his apartment is. We actually looked up old pictures, and the view of his apartment is the best view of Central Park you can ever. Only 5 lived through adulthood. Those are his 4 sons, as well as his daughter, Caddy Hammond, right there. Caddy will die rather early on, though, at the age of 42.
Oh my God, what happened?
There's paint, yes. In 2008, we suffered a major plaster collapse, and we had a company come in to fix the ceiling. They painted from all 4 generations of the family, most of them being the Billings' era, but people live in the center of the earth book that was later used by the Nazis, so weird guy there.
Y'all, this stuff fell almost on my head. It fell right close to me.
In regards to this room, we like to talk about the role of women and girls in James Henry Hammond's life. It's not a very pretty story. We will start out first with what's known as the Hampton Affair. So in 1842, Hammond is elected to the governorship of South Carolina. While he's governor, he's living in a townhouse in Columbia with his wife, Catherine. And sadly, Catherine's sister Anne will pass away, leaving behind 4 daughters, ages 13 through 17. So it's the 1800s. When a mother dies, it's typical to send the daughters to go live with their aunt and uncle so that they maintain a maternal figure in their lives. So their father will send these 4 daughters to live with their aunt Catherine and their uncle James Henry. So most likely fathered by Hammond. Now, of course, we can't go back in time and do DNA tests or anything like that. But we do know 2 men that were most likely Hammond's children. The only one that I know the name of off the top of my head is Henderson. He's mentioned in the letter. To learn to become a vintner, come down here, help him make wine. After that, of course, he's still enslaved during all of this. He never becomes free, at least while Hammond's alive. He runs away multiple times while in service to that vintner. Hammond eventually has to go up north and just recover him himself and we don't really see him again until, I believe, after the war. We see him still living on Redcliff plantation as a tenement farmer, and then after that, and I think he drops off the map completely in about the mid-1870s. So it's kind of interesting. Now, that's probably pretty typical. They just led normal lives as normal people. They probably didn't even think too much of. He buys this property. He's essentially in retirement. The only of his children that live here for any amount of time is Caddy. Caddy will live here for a few years before the Civil War. But then she, of course, becomes an adult and moves out.
They've got a little trundle under this bed.
Their beds are so short.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's funny.
Yes, they are. Very large rooms. Now, originally they probably wouldn't have had multiple beds in them. That's just because we have excess of beds. This mostly during the period, of course, the second floor was mostly guest rooms. This probably would have been used during Hammond's time just as empty space. But that's mostly because it's the Civil War when he was living here, a lot going on. But when Harry lives here with his children, this is a study room for his kids. Yeah. By the time Billings moves in here, he converts this to an office.
What is the big round thing over here in this room?
That is, I believe, if I know what you're referencing, that is the Kit Kat tub. So it's
Like a bathtub?
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
a bathtub, more akin to a sitting shower than anything.
Okay.
So you'd sit on that flat centerpiece, heat up some water in a bucket, ladle it over you like a sitting shower.
All right. What's this little reproduction model they got in the
That's
corner
just
here?
a dollhouse. I believe it was Julia Cummings' dollhouse.
Okay.
It's in rather poor condition now.
Yeah, look at this grandma tree. It is huge. I know that you can't really tell how big it is. It's gotta be 300 years old. It's huge. Look at that. Wow. That little green part there was a building that was about 150 years old and fell in Hurricane Helene. The tour guide said there used to be a balcony up on the roof. That's why there's a door there. And there used to be, beyond the Widow's Walk that's up there, used to be, I forgot what he called it, like a glass house, and you could open up the glass and open up the doors downstairs and get a little air moving for about 5 degrees AC back then. Apparently these cactus are native to South Carolina. This plant's got to be, jeez, a couple hundred years old, if they live that long. This little structure's the second set of stables, the man said. The original stables burned. That chain link fence is a cistern to water the stables. Dimension wise, it's got to be like 9 by 9 feet. And the dude was talking about how the plantation owner had, the man that ran the program was a slave, and the jockeys were slaves as well. That's what the original stables looked like before they burned. Great tour. Sorry I didn't want to put the guy on camera, so I only got little bits and pieces, but totally recommend it. He tried to end the tour on the first floor, and I was like, hey man, can we look upstairs? And he let us see the second floor. There was the third floor, and I guess that's off limits. But totally a lot of fun. Well worth the $10. And learned a lot. The family that owned this plantation was heavily involved in local politics leading up to and after the Civil War. Y'all have a good one.